Braveheart Workshops, inspiring connection. Restore, renew, and reconnect in community. Live well, laugh often, love much. Join our online connection circles. Be empowered in our virtual live events. Be a guest on our podcast shows. Hire us or be hired for speaking engagements. Enhance hope, health, and healing in your lives. Creating global connections. The Connection Show, sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. The Connection Show, Hope, Health, and Healing in 2021, sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. And joining me today are my new friends, Debi and Laurie. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, we're so grateful that you guys could come on and join us. And I'd love the audience to know first a little bit about both of you. So Debi, I'm hoping I won't say your name incorrectly. Debi Possidoni, did I do it right?
Close. Possidoni, you're okay.
Possidoni has over 40 years in the cosmetology industry, along with 35 years in the health and wellness industry. Her focus is helping people work on being the best version of themselves. As a health and wellness coach, Debi strives to focus on helping people with healthy eating, self-esteem, exercising, optimizing their neurofunction, and working on their overall wellness. She channels her information with her co-host and best friend, Laurie Caputo, on a podcast and Facebook group titled For the Health and Wellness of You. So welcome, Debi.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'd love to tell you a little bit about Laurie. Laurie Caputo grew up in a flower shop and a garden center where she worked for over 35 years, learning at a young age the art of floral design. This is where she developed exceptional customer service skills, learning how to listen, consult, and create perfect floral pieces. Laurie suffered numerous health issues due to a major automobile accident by a drunken driver, has multiple sclerosis, diabetes, depression, fibromyalgia, and degenerative disc disease, leaving her disabled and using a walker. Despite her health issues, her mind is strong and motivated, and she loves helping people deal with life's ups and downs. She has a strong faith in God that keeps her going. Laurie and her best friend Debi thought starting a podcast show and a Facebook page would be a way to reach out to people that were struggling with being home during the pandemic. They love encouraging people to stay positive and post and interview guests on uplifting topics. Their show on Wednesday is based on stories that promote health, wellness, and new adventures. On Fridays, their segment is called Friends Helping Friends. So Laurie, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's such an honor to meet you. We kind of met up on Facebook, and we were both impressed with each other's stories, and so I just felt honored to invite you both onto the show. And part of the Connection Show is sharing story about ourselves and connecting dots to see where those dots lead us in life. So since I read the bio first of you, Debi, I'll start with you a little bit. So can you share briefly with us what Debi's life was like growing up as a little girl, where you grew up, and what life was like that led you into the field you're in today of cosmetology and now wanting to help others through wellness on your podcast show?
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Jill, for inviting both Laurie and I on here. This has been an honor to be able to do this, and it's just fun to be able to share with people because what you're doing is just amazing. And as a little girl, for me, I grew up in a family where my father left my mom at a very young age. Okay, and my mother was in her 40s and did not drive back in those days, and so she had a lot of things that she had to learn to do, and she raised my brother and myself on her own. And so growing up in my life, I basically didn't have a lot of male figures that were very good. And so, I kind of was like a little rebel and like a little like anti-guy kind of person, and never chose and thought that I would ever get married or have a family because I didn't want to have any of that sadness and that stuff that had happened. As time went on, and went through school and determined that I had a real creative side to myself, that I loved to make people feel better. Okay. And so I loved to do it through hair. It was just one of my things, hair and makeup. And so I pursued that in high school. And along I met Laurie, which was a really great time. And we became people. Okay. And we like to do things. We'd always like to do, organize events, parties and the gatherings and all these things. And so fast forward a little, I happened to meet my now husband, who I've been married for 38 years, which was a blessing in disguise that I had no idea I was a Laurie that night, actually, when I met Tony. And we got married and we have 3 beautiful daughters and I have a grandson, and I was still pursuing and working on my cosmetology. And I came into a few different companies that I represented that were in the health and wellness field. And I loved sharing those. I loved the fact that I could help people better themselves and look good, but at the same time, can they feel good? And so throughout the years, I went along the way, and many roadblocks along the way changed my focus, lots of different avenues. And so then in my little bit of my older time where my girls are a little bit, more grown up and on their own, I came across a couple companies that I pursued and I started to look into and started to think to myself, okay, if I can help people look good, then also can I help them on their journey to be a better person, be the better version of themselves. So I did link into a company that I work with in neurohealth, and that neurohealth had opened my eyes about looking at myself first. Okay. And I went to the doctor about it just almost a year ago and had a few things that were not the best. And I said, okay, I need to work on myself first. And when I do that, I need to be able to share that with others. So I went ahead and I worked hard and I lost 21 pounds, and I helped my body get in a better place, helped my neuro body, my feeling better. And so then I started on this journey of saying, I want to brand myself and get out there and share that more with people so that I could do that. So that's where I really focused it to my health and wellness. I have a team of people that I work with, and I also do different things with that. When COVID came along, and we got kind of a screeching halt of not being able to have personal interaction where we could actually be one-on-one, Laurie and I brainstormed of how can we together do one step further and talk about helping people through stress, anxiety, being stuck in the house, and all kinds of things that will affect them, from anywhere from anxiety, depression, what to do during COVID, every subject that we could find, we wanted to share that. So we started off just me and Laura, and we were like, all right, let's start this group. Well, it just started exploding. And we have done so many other things in our lives where we have, organized our reunions, our 10, 20, 30, 40, class reunions. And, we have so many contacts, and we're like, let's just go at it and let's see where it goes. And had no idea that we would explode into this amazing context of people where we have people that we're helping in different areas. So I'm taking my cosmetology, my health and wellness, my branding of myself, branding with my best friend. We're co-hosting together, and we're friends helping friends, getting out there and talking about some everyday subjects that we feel that we're not experts on, but yet at the same time, we were able to bring out different places. We use different forms of material that we can, and we share that. We've been very blessed to meet so many interesting people and have started to interview some people where these people are affecting other people's lives. And now we have this group growing where our goal is to hit 1,000, real soon here. And we're striving towards that. But we're finding that people are coming back and saying, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you did that. We needed to hear that. We learned from it. You connected me with this person or however. So we're finding that, through a pandemic and through parts of our lives where we're more homebound, we're actually reaching and touching more people than we ever thought we would. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a nutshell of who we are and, who I am. And again, with, being able to do something with your best friend is amazing in its own, but the fact that we're helping people is just amazing. We can't put a price tag on it. So,
well, one of the things, and thank you so much, that as you were saying this, I think the one thing that I really resonated with both of you is that you're just down home real people.
Oh,
And I love that because so many of the shows now and so many of the pages are all on masterminding and empowerment and life coaching. And, I think that's amazing. So many people are doing it, but quite frankly, I'm just burning out on it. And I just really love just the authenticity of the two of you coming out. And, it's like me, it's the same with me. I'm not an expert on anything, and I'm an expert on a lot of things. And
mhm.
it's like, but we don't need that certification or that title in front of us saying we're life coaches to be able to share life. And so one question I had, Debbie, and then I want to talk to Laurie here, is as you were growing up and as a child, did you have siblings? Were there siblings in your
oh,
family?
yes, I do have a brother. Our parents are passed, and so I have a brother, and my brother and I are very close, and he has a couple kids, and so it's pretty cool. I'm the oldest, and I tease him all the time. But yes, I do.
So the
So.
reason I asked that question, and then I'm sure this came in with Laurie, so I'd love to hear this, is so when you were a child growing up with your brother, and then you met Laurie and she became your best friend. So how many of them had to have you put makeup in, cut their hair so you could practice on them? I could see you, Debbie, going, "Let me cut your hair," and taking the razor thing and cutting your brother's hair off. So what was that like, Debbie?
Well, let me just tell you some funny stories about that. I knew early on that I wanted to do, be part of this industry, as far as like, an artistic part of me. And in 8th grade, I started doing haircuts in the neighborhood. I would do bang cuts and I permed my brother's hair. Okay. So my brother has curly hair to begin with, kind of wavy. And so I was doing hair literally before I ever went to school. And people would trust me. And back then, I'm not sure why, but they did. And so,
That's
and
great.
it
I
was
just, when you were saying that,
yeah,
I could just
yeah,
envision you
yeah.
lining the kids up and say,
Oh,
next,
yeah.
next.
I did. There was in my mother's basement, we by the laundry tub. I don't know if Lori remembers it, but we
Yeah,
had it
I
set up
do.
there. In fact, if you want to laugh too, Lori helped me carry the chair. We went to go buy my chair and my station, and we had to carry it down the stairs. She went with me. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. So, Laurie, let's transition into you. So, again, you can go as deep as you want. I always say connecting dots are amazing because then the audience can resonate with it. So, take us back to you, Laurie, as a little girl growing up. What was your childhood like?
Well,
And I know you had the flower shop, but tell us a little bit what that was and then how it transitioned with your car accident and everything that occurred.
okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you again for having us on here. Me and Debbie were very excited about being here. Um, a little bit about me. My mom came from Italy, so she didn't speak very good English. And I have two brothers, one older and one younger. I'm the middle child. And we started the flower business when I started working in the flower business when I was 9 years old. And it was my way of dealing with things because I was able to tune everything out and design flowers, and it just gave me such gratification that you forgot about things. When I grew up, my mom suffered from major depression, and she was in and out of mental hospitals like months at a time. So me going to the flower shop with my dad was my outlet. So, and I think that's where I learned a lot about understanding about people and dealing with issues. And so I became a florist. I was 14 years old when I went downtown Chicago to floral school. I was one of the youngest students they had there, and I just loved it. And I helped my dad start the business because it just started as a shop that just had cut flowers. And I encouraged my dad to actually turn it into a regular flower shop. And so we did. And it was a small business at the time. And we started doing weddings, and I set up his accounts receivable, and I used to mail out the bills out to the customers. And I think I was like 14 or 15 years old doing that. And then when I got older, we decided to build a bigger building. We built 11,700 square foot building, and we had a
Wow.
flower shop and garden center. And we were doing about 100 weddings a year. And not only did we have weddings, we did funerals, we did all kinds of stuff. And what the great thing about it was a type of business that you could go to and you could say, "Hey, Laurie, how's your family doing?" Or my dad's name is Joe. "Hey, Joe, how's your golf game?" And you don't get that too much in business today because of the big stores and that. So that's where I learned my customer service, and I loved my customers. I lived for my customers. And it was so great, like Debbie says, of the satisfaction of doing somebody's hair. That's how it was for me doing flowers. I mean, dealing with doing flowers for people, you deal with death, you deal with weddings, you deal with birthdays, you deal with new businesses opening up, you deal with babies being born. So you're dealing with a lot of different types of emotions of positive things. And it was just so great to be able to help these people out. And the faces, the smiles on their faces just would just give me that extra oomph for the day because I knew I did something to make them happy.
What was the name of the flower shop, Lori?
It was Joe's Flower Shop in Lisle, Illinois.
In Lyle. Okay.
Yeah. And we had probably over 2,000 customers. And we sold the business in 2000. And somebody wanted to buy it. And my dad was getting old, and I came at a great time. God blessed us. And I was supposed to take over the store, but then I had MS. And I said to my dad, "There's no way I could take over this business. Why don't you sell it? You and mom go and enjoy your retirement, and I'll figure out something else to do. I could do anything, and I could go work for another florist or whatever." So we sold it. We were doing 1,200,000 in business when we sold
Wow.
it. And
Wow.
it was just amazing. We just got out of the business before the economy changed. It was 2000. The flower business was still doing great.
Well, between you and Debbie being best friends, you guys really could have started your own wedding thing between Lori doing the brides here and
Yes.
she probably wouldn't have wanted to do the morgue here, but
Yeah,
but doing the wedding here and you
right,
selling the wedding
right,
flowers, you had like a
right.
niche market together.
It would have been great. We talked about it and stuff, but we kind of did our own thing. But the amazing thing about it, I was so fortunate after getting out of the flower business, I reinvented myself. I actually, at the first job I had, I actually went and worked for Jewel. And I worked for Jewel because I never worked for anybody in my life. And I wanted to know what it was like to work for somebody else. Well, they asked me to be a manager of the floral department, and I said, no, I would have stayed in my business if I wanted to be a manager. But then I had got an awesome job where I traveled all over a country. I worked for a company that manufactured floral supplies. And you know those pots, the pot covers on the plants that you get at the store? They're like a solid color or print. It's made out of like a cellophane type of a material. Well, that my company I worked for made that, and they did wire, all kinds of stuff, and they hired me to be their floral designer for shows, and I did trade shows all over the country.
Wow.
It was a dream job for me, absolute dream job for me, and I had to leave that job because of family issues. but it was great. And then the thing is, I became a secretary. Who would have ever thought this girl that was a florist would become a secretary for a company?
And what year was that, Lori?
It was 2009.
In nine.
Yeah, 2009. And
And of
oh,
course, we would never call them secretaries today. They're
no,
not. They're now
administration,
administrative assistants.
right? Yeah, exactly. Administration assistant. And I loved it. I absolutely loved working there. And it's funny because it turns out that it was Debbie's cousin that was my boss, and a long lost cousin. So I just had to throw that in there. But yeah, so then he closed his company, and I had to go to another company. I went to another company, and I was in charge of all the records. I was the records department. Again, reinventing myself all over again. And then finally, my last job was I was working in customer service for a chemical company. And that's when I started getting worse with issues. And
When was the car accident then, Lori?
oh, I'm sorry, the car accident was in 1979.
Okay,
Okay, that
and that car accident then escalated the body's disease process with the MS and the fibromyalgia and the myofascia dysfunction and all of that
right,
that started
right,
to occur.
right. Well, see, in 1979, we just graduated from high school. I got hit by a drunken driver, but in those days, they didn't do the tests that they do now. And so, they pretty much said, oh, you're bruised and everything. And, and my teeth were knocked backwards and they had to push my teeth forward. But they didn't think about what was going to happen to me in the future. And so, just as time went on, all these things started happening to me. The MS I got in 1991, found out I had the MS. I went blind in one eye for 6 weeks, and that's how I found out I had MS. And then, the diabetes as I got older, and having so many problems with pain and falling all over the place in my last job. And it just got to the point where it's just too hard for me to do. So I decided to file for disability. And you know what I did, which was just the best thing I could ever do, is I spent the next 3, 4 years after that, I went to every kind of doctor possible because I never could go to doctors because I was a single mom, and I was too busy at work, and I didn't have to take the time. And so then I was able to go all kinds of doctors. My first doctor, she was amazing. I walked in her office and I said, you got to help me. I can't handle this anymore. I'm not leaving here till you come up with answers for me. And she was great. And she led me to all these different doctors, my neurologist. I even was tested on how my cognitive thinking was because of the MS. You name it, I went to. And then it turned out, after all the stuff and everything, that I had my discs from C2 through T2 were totally falling apart and collapsing. And I had spondylosis. I had all kinds of things going on there. And my neurologist says, if you don't get this taken care of, Laurie, you're going to be paralyzed. And so what happened was he sent me to a specialist downtown, and I had the surgery, and it was a 9-hour surgery. And then after the 9-hour surgery, they had to put me back in surgery again. And he had a hematoma blood thing going into my spinal cord. And then I would have been paralyzed if he didn't clean that out. Well, it left me intubated for 9 days in Rush Hospital in Chicago. I woke up and I couldn't walk. I talked a little bit. My one hand was completely stuck like this. And then I ended up in Marion Joy in Wheaton, which is a rehab center, great place. And I had to learn how to walk, eat right. It was amazing.
Was
what they
was that a result of the surgery going bad, or was that the prognosis that after the surgery it would cause some of these difficulties, which required extensive physical therapy?
It was kind of a what they were saying possibly that could happen, but they think because of they had to do the second surgery, it caused it to be worse. So, you know, I learned so much about myself that I have so much more of a drive in me than I think I do. And the encouragement of like my friends Debbie and Mary and Joy and my church and everything, it was just amazing. But to learn how to walk, I they had to put me in like a harness, and it that hooked up to the ceiling, and that's how I had to walk. And I could only do 2 steps. It was amazing. I came home with a walker, fell millions of times. I can't even tell you how many times I fell. The first time I fell, I was on the floor for 2 hours because I couldn't get up, and I had to wait for my boyfriend to get home to get me up. It was amazing. It's crazy.
Well, one thing that, as you're talking, that's coming to me is the beauty of the relationship you have with Deb, because, when you're going through what you went through, audience, I can relate to Laurie a lot because of my story.
Hmm.
But I think the beauty is having a friend
Yes.
alongside of you, because most people, the old adage when someone says, "How are you?" and what is the normal response? "Oh, I'm fine," or "Fine, thank you." And having a friend who you can call and say, "Debbie, I am like at 20 in pain. I just don't want to live. I hate life. Everything sucks." And
Right.
in having someone to come alongside of and be real versus masking it and saying, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine," because in reality, 98% of the population does not want to hear that you're not doing well. They just don't want to hear it because they don't know what to do with it, number one. But number two, it's just so depressing. It's hard to share with people.
Right.
So you guys are so blessed to have each other.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
and the thing is, fast forward a little bit when Debbie told you the whole story how we started this. What I bring to the table is that I understand people, and I understand what people. I have empathy for people. I understand what people go through, and so where Debbie's got this great positive thing, and she's just such a wonderful person and such a sincere and loving person, and she has so much to say, and she has a lot of knowledge. What I bring to the table is the fact of the empathy and understanding people and wanting to help people that are in the same situation that I was in, and that's amazing to me. I mean, that I feel like God gave me that. This has all happened to me for a reason. I can't do my flowers anymore. All the stuff I love to do, I can't do anymore. But I can help people. And that's what's so amazing about doing this.
Well, and
And
that's the
Debbie
beauty,
wanted to,
because even when it's difficult to walk and get around, if
yeah,
you can sit for any length of time, you can still have an audience and be able to have a voice. Um, Lori, what's the pain level that you deal with every day now, approximately?
um, I would say an average about 6. It could go up to 7.
Okay.
Sometimes it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But
Yeah.
I have to keep going. I go swimming a couple times a week. Basically water walking because that helps a lot with a lot of my legs
I
and
wish we were by each other, because that's what I love too.
oh, I know
And
it's
and
great.
and I was so bummed, Lori. I had gotten hired at a resort here in Branson to be
Oh,
a
really?
water aerobics instructor. And I was so bummed because, I had handed out my business card in the water to one,
Oh,
after the session, to one of the guests there, to let her know that I do my Braveheart workshops. Well, do you know a manager thought that because I handed out my business card that I was promoting another resort, and they didn't even come to me and ask me what it was about. They just assumed I was promoting an outside business, which I wasn't. I was just, this lady was sharing her pain, and I told her I did some burden release retreats. And so they fired me. And I was like so bummed because it was my place to go 3 times a week to get my exercise in. And where I live in Branson, the whole town closes down in the winter and then opens up in the summer. So during the winter, I have nowhere to go swimming, and because there's no like fitness centers that have pools. And so when I had that job, I was like on cloud nine because I could go to do my exercise. So now I have to wait. And the pools open on May 31st and they close September 30th. So between May 31st and September 30th, I am like on cloud nine because I go in the water for 2 hours a day and move around and do stuff. But you and Debbie definitely have to come to Branson in the summer, and I'll show you some of my water tricks because I'm in pain all the time too, and I have some amazing. When I had to go through physical therapy as well, my physical therapist, one of the centers I was going to had a pool. So the physical therapist stood on the outside of the pool and taught me different exercises. So I use those now in my routine, and they really help. So I'm definitely looking forward to you coming here, Laurie, and we can play in the water together.
Isn't it amazing how when you're in the water, you feel like you could do anything?
Yeah.
I mean, it's because the pain's gone. You feel like a ballerina in there, and it's just amazing. And then as soon as you walk out of the pool, within 2 minutes, you're in pain again.
Yeah, and when you step out of the pool, you can barely walk. And yet, when I was in the pool, you'll laugh, I could actually do kickboxing.
Yeah, right, I believe it.
I do kickboxing, and on the stairs, like a stairmaster, I can run on the stairs because I have, if you don't have these, Laurie, get them, is Teva, Teva, water aerobic shoes. They're the best.
Oh, okay.
They are the best. I'll turn you on to the link because they really help you with stability when you're in the water. But anyway, so that is an amazing story, and then how you guys got together. So with what you're both doing, Debbie, I'd like to learn just for a moment or two a little bit. I too am a wellness partner with Amari Global, the mental wellness company. So share with the audience, if you wouldn't mind, a little bit about the NeuroLife platform and what embraced you to that platform.
Okay, so basically, to make it kind of as condensed as I can, I had a gathering at my house about maybe October of not this last year, but the year before. And a friend of ours had a doctor that was at our house, and we were gathering for something else. And my friend had a really bad car accident that he had been in, and it was in a lot of pain. And the doctor said, "Oh, let me just do a little balance stability on you, and let's see what it does." And so he actually checked him and went ahead and applied a patch on his body. And he said, "I want to see what happens." Well, my friend came over and whispered in my ear and said, "I can't believe this, but I've had this chronic pain and I'm feeling much better," and I said, so I was like, wow, okay, let's talk about this. So I researched more into it. And as I did, I realized that the company had some very interesting products that dealt with your reflexology technology on the bottom of your foot. And it actually goes and communicates with your brain, and it helps to have the brain connect there. And it helps to work in the arena of putting your body back into homeostasis. And then I also have part of another one of their technologies that I really find very important, which is your cognitive boost technology, which is actually helping with anxiety and stress. And I zone in a lot on that. And that is actually pretty cool because I actually have a sleeve on my arm right now that helps me with that. It helps people with ADHD. It helps people with like all different aspects of their bodies. So I started to be a full circle, wear everything that they have and kind of see. And I noticed the changes in myself. Okay. So at 60 years old that I am right now, I'm still working behind the chair as a cosmetologist cosmetologist. You're standing on your feet for hours on ends, especially when you have people with long, thick hair. And I would have the aches and the pains, and my body would bother me. So I ended up finding that did really well for myself. So then I started to tell other people about it, including Laurie. I know Laurie wears a lot of the tech, and it's helped her. It's not something that's going to actually go and say, oh my goodness, it's going to cure somebody. It's actually just going to make you feel better and have you be able to have a better quality of life and be able to. So I took that tech and I decided to run with it and say, I want to, find out more. And it's just been a blessing in disguise because it's helped people that I know with all different aspects of things. My mother-in-law has neuropathy. My husband has a sciatic nerve issue. My grandson has some, attention stuff that, he wears the sleeve for, And so I just found this to be such a blessing, and it's been something that I've held on to and have helped hundreds and hundreds of people with different situations. That has been, to me, it gets me, it's such an excitement to know that they try something and they can wear it. And it's not something that you're going to replace all the time. It's something that you can use. As crazy as it sounds, it's in the form of insoles and socks and different technologies that you can put into.
I don't look at that crazy at all because now that I'm in Branson, and Laurie, I loved your story about that one doctor that you saw that helped you, because I too went to, I want to say, I think I went to 90 doctors before someone diagnosed me with my genetic celiac disease. It took that long because back in the days when I started getting sick, many people didn't have celiac, or people didn't know about it. So by the time they diagnosed mine, it was like 90 doctors later. And one of the things I've done, Laurie, over the years is found the best of the best of the best doctors, therapists, everything. And so I'm like a walking, talking encyclopedia. When someone says I have this, I'll call here. You don't have to go any further. I know this doctor, and then, because the worst part of having chronic debilitating pain and illness is trying in your brain, and people that have never gone through this do not understand, but Laurie, I know you do. In your brain, trying to self-diagnose yourself to say, do I call a chiropractor? Do I call a neurologist? Do I call the who do I call? And that's the stress more than anything, is trying to figure out, where do I go right now to hopefully get better? And so having a network is amazing. And so I am grateful to know you girls, because I'd love to be part of your network when people need wellness. But Deb, what I love is what you're doing with this product. This is what I've come to find out. And I don't know if you agree with this, Debbie, or not, but one product is not always the catch-all for everything. And so having that open mind to say, hey, this neuro product can really help in this arena. Why not give it a try? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But having that open-mindedness of trying different things is, I think, so imperative, because you just don't know which direction your body's going to take once you've discovered something new. And I know for me, I've tried so many different things, and some have worked and some have not. But knowing, even, Laurie, would you not agree, even when you can take baby steps, they're better than no steps?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So in closing, I'd like to ask both of you, I think we may have already found one on you, Debbie, but we'll try. What's one fun fact about you, Laurie? Do you have a fun fact that you don't share to many people and you like to reveal?
Oh, boy, a fun fact about me. Well, everybody knows I'm loud, okay? And everybody knows I have a million friends. I don't know. I guess.
Have you done anything out of the ordinary besides the floral that is part of your story? Debbie knows it. Look at Deb's going to tell you what it is.
All right, Deb, you tell me what it is. I can't think of anything.
Okay, you guys, this is like the craziest thing ever, right? Okay, so Laura's always had this, would say the word abundanza. Okay, that was like a big deal. But to tag on to that, she makes the most unbelievable chocolate chip cookies. And I kid you not, these cookies are like to die for. And whenever she makes them, people freak out. And you may think, oh, yeah, a chocolate chip cookie. No, I'm serious. We're talking the most amazing cookies ever. Ever.
So does she put marijuana in them? I just had to say that.
Yeah, I know, that's right. No, I don't. You know what? I'll just tell you real quick because I know we're ending this segment, but I started making cookies because when I had the flower shop, the nuns used to come over and bring me cookies and tell me how great of a daughter I was to my dad. And I remember how great it felt. So I started making chocolate chip cookies and I actually perfected the recipe. It's my own recipe.
Wow.
And I make them for people because I love to see their faces, like that they're happy. That's all it's
So
about.
you're going to have to find one for me, Laurie, that has got a gluten-free flour in it so I can try them gluten-free.
Okay.
And if you do, we'll market those gluten-free because you'll probably have a winner there. So
Yeah.
Debbie, what's one fun fact about you besides cutting everyone's hair and perming them?
Birmingham. One fun fact about me. I don't know.
Come on, Laurie, what's a fun fact about
yeah,
Debbie?
you got it. What's a fun fact like I could say?
Well, the one thing, a fun fact about Debbie is Debbie always makes everything positive. She is such a positive person. She makes everything happy and fun. And, you know, if you talk to her about something, she always makes it a fun thing. She always makes it a happy thing, you know, and she's just such a great person to be around because she's such a happy person, you know.
Well,
And
I've already picked up on that from both of you,
yeah,
and I know this sounds strange, but I'm already sitting here going, you guys, we have to create a retreat in Branson. It's
yeah,
only 8 hours from Chicago,
okay,
and we gotta just have a fun time together.
yes,
Yeah.
So
definitely.
we
Right.
definitely gotta,
Oh,
the only
Right.
way to do it, I've learned this in my life, you just gotta pick a date and say, we are
right,
doing this, girls. This summer, a girls' getaway. And, we could have men if we want because, guys gotta have fun too. And I actually live in a subdivision, ladies, it's like 600 homes, a single family, and then they have lodges, villas, and condos, and 3 outdoor swimming pools, tennis,
Oh,
golf,
wow.
2 catch and release lakes,
Oh, wow.
sand volleyball. Everything is here, and then we're 10 minutes away from the strip where it's got all the shows. So it's kind of like living in the Bible Belt of Las Vegas because we have all the kind of family oriented shows, and so we can do the shows, we can do and then we're 10 minutes from Table Rock Lake, which is gorgeous,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we're in the Ozark Mountains, and like in 8 hours from Chicago. So it's like a
We are all
no-brainer that we could have so much fun for a getaway. And these lodges, some of them are 6 bedrooms, 6 baths. So
wow,
we could rent
okay,
several of them and just bring 20, 30 people to Branson, and we can go to
and
shows and
attendees. We're
swim
Be
and just
fun.
have an amazing time of getaway.
sounds
So we'll definitely have to pick that and promote
Yeah.
it on your show, Debbie and Lori, and bring
mm-hmm.
all of your guests that have been knowing you and say, come on, let's meet in person.
Yeah.
That's great.
Sounds
So,
good.
so in closing, the Braveheart Workshops is for the first time because nobody's been traveling. We're doing our first ever virtual online event called Hope, Health, and Healing. And I'm hoping you girls can join us because it's going to be amazing. It's only $28.99. And if you register, you'll get a lifetime recording of the show. So, Deb, I know you work a lot. And so if
Hmm.
you're stuck working on a Friday and you can't attend, register anyway because you'll get
Sure.
the recording. And then if people opt in, they'll also get an email of everyone that attends so you can network with them. So
Okay,
they have a choice of opting in or out of the email
okay,
distribution. And then many of the speakers who are very, very smart people are going to put together some of their own teaching in a recording. And if they do, whoever joins gets those recordings too.
Oh,
So
great.
from the leaders. So we hope that you guys can come to that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
in closing, I would ask both of you, I'll ask each of you, Debbie, what is a hope you might have in 2021? And the definition of hope is to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen. That's the secular word, but the biblical word is hope is commonly used to mean um, uh, being confident expectation of what God has promised, and its strength is in His faithfulness. So, what's your hope for 2021?
That's a really awesome question. I think my hope is actually that through, little bits along the way, together, Laurie and I and myself, and being an example to others, that we can get people to kind of turn their mindset around and be positive, be uplifting, go and do what we were taught to when we were younger, what God intends us to do to help others, to be able to be that example, be that avenue that people will see what we're doing and say that I can do that too, instead of the negativity that's out there and the stuff that's going on around the world, or just in our own, even in our own networks of people and friends. Let them change their mind around and know that, and also give them the hope that they can do things that they want to do, set out to be that example, and take that plunge into something that maybe they didn't want to try, or and hope that we can actually make a difference in others' lives. That's really
Yeah.
where it's at, make a difference,
Yeah, I
so.
love that so much, Debbie, because, and that's my vision. My vision of what you said is this event coming up, that these guests that are speaking will share some of their story and then
Mhm,
show how that story led them into hope in their lives. So this is
mhm,
not going to be another like virtual online event of a bunch of teaching and classes and masterminds. It's going to be where when you hear someone's story, this is so important for everyone in the audience to hear. When you hear someone's story, like Debbie's and like Laurie with sharing about your illness and the transformation, and then you take that story. Everyone's story is your story.
Right.
If you
Mhm.
just slow down enough in your own life and
mhm,
connect the dots of their story with yours, that's when you start to really feel hope in your life. You start to really receive health in your body, and your
mhm,
mind gets renewed and restored for healing. And so, this is not another virtual online event where someone's going to get up there and say, this is the ABCs of health. This is the, da 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 da. Because there's so many programs you can get this. This is real life story. Probably the most teaching you'll get on the event will be Dr. Laura Wood, who's a world renowned drama therapist who has helped thousands of people heal from PTSD, trauma, sexual abuse,
great.
eating disorders, addictions,
Mm,
grief. She started her career, believe it or not, she started her career at Children's Hospital in Chicago,
right.
counseling parents whose children were dying from cancer. That's how she began her therapeutic career. So she's about the only one that's going to share on embodiment, how when we leave stuff in our body, it keeps us sick. And so
Mhm,
she's going to actually do some experiential therapy on the show, showing people how to get that trauma out of your body. So that'll be if you don't come for anything but that, it's well worth the $28 just to hear her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just to hear her. Laurie, health. I'm going to give you that one. So, health. Um, let me look here. Sorry, I have to look at my sheet. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Uh, there's a health triangle, but what the biblical defines it is 7 areas of the abundant life that Christ refers to in John 10:10. and you need to take care of them all to experience biblical health, which is spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, financial, occupational, and social. Each area of your life is connected, again, connection, to these areas. What does health mean to you today, Laurie?
Well, health, I think the number one thing is health with knowing who God is and learning about God and realizing that God is there for you and you can't do things on your own, and for example, when you're in a lot of pain and everything and you ask God to help you and for some reason you start feeling a lot better. And I talk to a lot of people and I post a lot of things on Facebook about God's healing and God, all the things that God can help you with and loving God and just, having hope with that. And that's my thing is the health thing is knowing God and learning about all these people, like even in the Bible, that have suffered from so many different kinds of diseases and health issues, and God healed them, or they had hope in God. And I think that's the number one thing with health is knowing who God is and becoming his best friend and talking to him and telling him about your issues and just having that faith that things are going to get better for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And and that leads to the last one, which I'll just wrap it up with, is healing, because I think they're intertwined. And healing in the Bible says, "Heal me, Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. For you are the one I praise." And the people all tried to touch him because the power was coming from him in healing them all. And it says, "But I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord." So I would say what you shared at the end, Laurie, with health pertains then to the last one of healing. And so I'd love to direct the audience right now to your bios. This is Debi and Laurie's bio, and their Facebook group is posted here so that you know how to find them. This will be on the YouTube channel and all the Facebook pages as well. So please reach out to them and join their amazing group and be part of their community of positivity and loving all of you as well. So thanks, girls, for coming on the show. You're amazing. I really hope we'll stay connected and can do some fun things together. I want to be part of your community.
Great. Thank you so much for having us on.
We love you all. And please go to braveheartworkshops.com and register today for the virtual Hope, Health, and Healing event on March 12th. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Bye, ladies.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on The Connection Show. Let's connect now. Let's restore, renew, and reconnect in community. Enhance connection in our online connection circles. It's a place to meet up, gather, and feel welcomed. To join us, go to braveheartworkshops.com. Click on the Books Podcast tab and then the Connection Circles drop-down. On the pop-up, join our Connection Circles Facebook group. Our circles meet from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share story, topics, and laughter with men and women. To learn more about Connection Circles, go to braveheartworkshops.com. Thanks for joining us on The Connection Show and have a great day.